Welcome, welcome everyone to another episode of the Spring Forward podcast. It is me, Spring Richardson-Perry, your host, and my little co-host here, little Miss Winter. And today we are super excited to bring you Miss Tarra Stubbins. She is not your average CEO. She is the ultimate success coach who has over 2 decades of experience. She spent a decade supporting celebrity artists like the Rolling Stones, Lady Gaga, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and even Kiss. And so it was through these experiences that Tara really honed her skills in time management, having to constantly manage these chaotic schedules. So her no nonsense style and purpose driven approach to time management will absolutely revolutionize the way you tackle each day. So say goodbye to the multitasking madness, which I am such a victim of, and say hello to a life filled with meaningful moments. So please, please, please help me welcome Miss Tarra Stubbins. Hello, Tara.
Hi,
How are
so nice to
you?
see you. Thanks for having me here. I'm doing great. And you are multitasking. You're hosting and looking after your little one.
And momming, the ultimate mompreneur over here. And
You
so
got
that's
it.
why I said I have definitely been a victim of the multitasking madness. So I am excited to hear about some of your strategies and the things that you do to really help your clients. And so I wanted to really get us started here because this is what, oh, and Miss Winter's excited too, guys.
She is.
But to get us started, I want you to talk about how you got into this journey because this is really what. Yes, is that what happened? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that she could tell
That,
the story
she got
for
it.
me. Look
She's
at
gonna tell the
that.
story. But we're gonna be talking about time management and really just success catalyst, how to catapult yourself to success. Tara's going to be helping us to understand the strategies that she uses with her clients and how you guys can sort of implement this in your life. And so to get us started, talk to us about your journey and what really led you here.
Yeah, so I have a bit of a different and interesting journey. So when actually, and I want to go all the way back to when I was little because it will kind of bring this all full circle. So when I was younger, I had a t-shirt that said, "Remember me, I'm going to be a star." And I wore that shirt everywhere to the point where it disintegrated. But the problem was is that, in my young little undeveloped brain, I always thought that being a star was being a rock star. So singing, dancing, performing, being up there on this stage, and you can see this guitar behind me, but I actually have very little musical talent. Can't dance, can't sing, can sort of play the guitar behind me, but it kind of sounds like a dying animal when I'm doing it. So I thought, well, there goes my life. There goes my big dream. I'm going to be nothing with my life. I'm just going to throw out that dream of being a rock star, of being a star, and, live this kind of boring existence. But for some reason, and I tell this story a lot, and I always wish that I knew why, and I don't. But for some reason, something inside me told me to hold on to a little portion of that dream. So instead of throwing out the whole thing, I held on to like 0.001% of it. And I put it in my figurative back pocket and I walked around with it every day, to the point where I would forget about it. Days, weeks, months, even years would go by where I would not remember that I wanted to be a rock star until those like pivotal moments in life came up where you have to like make those big decisions. And I would always go, "Oh, yeah, I wanted to be a rock star. That's cool. Still can't dance, still can't sing, still desperately trying to play a musical instrument, not very well." Um, but I would always kind of pivot and force my decision into a direction that was actually kind of part of my dream in a weird roundabout way. So all of those decisions and all of those moments that were brought to me in life ended up creating this really cool career for me, where I got to be not on the stage, but behind the stage, backstage, supporting some of the world's biggest and most powerful individuals. And because I was always so curious of, why them? Why are they the ones that are like blessed with this talent and not me? Why are they a huge success? I was like a sponge, and I still am today. I'm fascinated with what brings success and what maintains success. And I always would watch and learn, and again, be like a sponge. And, what are they doing in their everyday to build this success, and how can I copy that? It's obviously not something that you can Google, or chat GPT. AI can't really help us. So why them? And as soon as I started learning these like actual lessons, I myself have built two pretty successful businesses, being able to kind of recreate this. I wanted to share it with the world. I wanted to prove that anyone, as I always say, can be the Beyonce of their own lives. We all can set our dreams. We all can be a success, and we can all just, go out and kill it and be that rock star that we really want to be.
That's amazing. You certainly have an impressive resume with the stars that you've worked with. And so it is so interesting to hear that journey, because we do wonder, or at least I know I do for sure, how did they achieve this success? Like, what makes them so different? What makes them special? Were they in the right place at the right time? How did they hone their talent once they got there? What got them there, but also what kept them there? So these are like all the questions that I'm always asking myself. And like you, like I'm looking and trying to figure it out. But I didn't have that sort of backstage view like you did, that very direct access to, oh my goodness.
Very excited about the rock stars.
Very excited about the rock stars. But I didn't, and most people, the average person doesn't have that access to the rock stars to learn and really see firsthand what it takes to be that successful. And so I'm super excited that you are sharing this with us, because these are things that people really want to know. Like, how did they achieve that success? How can I do it? And so in really thinking about that, a lot of what you do emphasizes practical time management strategies. So can you share with us a specific example of a strategy that's maybe revolutionized the lives of some of your clients, both personally and professionally?
Yeah, so let me take it back for a second and really dive into, I know a lot of us, I do too, get really excited when I read a book about, a successful person, because a lot of us, we don't have that backstage access to these successful people. So we read books, we watch, documentaries, podcasts, things like that, to really get an inside look and how these CEOs and successful celebrities really become a success. And I get a little frustrated because every time I read these books, I always see that it's another CEO telling us, very successful CEO or entrepreneur, telling us, that you have to follow these like very specific morning routines. So, you have to read 20 pages a day. You have to, right?
Yes.
Like, you have to exercise. You have to wake up at 4 a.m. You have to do all this stuff. And then it's like noon. And like, how have you haven't even really gotten anything done.
You haven't gotten anything done. And not to mention, if you're a mom over here who has to take care of a family, your time is even more precious, because it is split with your stuff and their stuff, and they have a lot of stuff. So I'm really interested to hear how you convey this information to your people, because this is good stuff.
Yeah. So what I really like to tell people is that we're all different. So, the CEO's book that you're reading, or the rock star's book that you're reading, or documentary of what they do to become a success, doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to help you and your individual lifestyle become a success. And what I actually find quite interesting is some of the celebrities that I've supported, some, yeah, sure, we'll wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and, go through a crazy morning routine. And then others, wake up at like 1 p.m. and smoke a cigar. And like, that's their like crazy morning routine or afternoon routine, I guess. And that's what brings them to success. So, but what I found is that instead of trying to copy everybody else's, you really need to figure out what works for you. And by doing that, you have to take it at one step at a time. So I am a huge believer in building habits that allow us to create the success we want, but building a habit step by step. So if we try to, copy these morning routines or get more done in a day and try to do it all at once, we're never going to be successful. We're going to be exhausted. We're never going to get anything done. And then we're going to be really upset with ourselves too, that, like, oh, we're a failure. We haven't gotten this done. So what I like to say is like, okay, what do I want to get accomplished today? What is my biggest pain point, or what is my biggest goal, and what's something that I can do to allow myself to get to that future state. So let's say that my biggest goal is, a lot of business owners out here, they want to make $1 million. Great. Okay. So, we want to break that down. We obviously have tasks that we have to do in a day to day that, everyone has to do, like look after children, do the laundry, feed ourselves, have a shower. So obviously those are just tasks, and obviously they have to be done in our adult life. But what is one task that we can do that is actually going to move the needle towards our goal? And what habit can we form today, and just one habit that is going to help us continuously do that one task? So say it is every day I want to, and I'm just throwing this out there. This doesn't mean that you're going to have success if you do this, but say you've researched your market niche and you understand that you have to send 100 cold emails a day to get success. Okay, great. So what am I going to do to build the habit that I absolutely can find the time in the day to send those 100 cold emails? And at least at the end of the day, you have done something that is moving the needle a little bit. And I want to go back a little bit to my story about my goals that I never threw out. A lot of times, especially when, we're business owners and we're moms and we're parents and we have all these other things on the go, it's really difficult to always hold that goal in focus. So our day to day becomes very chaotic and you're kind of chasing, oh yeah, I forgot that I left the sheets in the laundry, which I do all the time. Or, I forgot that I have to make this dentist appointment, or I forgot this. So you're kind of chasing everything rather than being very proactive and thinking about, what is that one goal? What is that goal? What is that one task that's going to allow me to get to that goal? So when I work with my clients, I always make sure that they hold those goals always in focus. A lot of times it can be vision boards. It can be, meditation, if that helps you. It does, but it doesn't have to be all of them. And I think a lot of times when we go down the path of, self-help or, trying to become this huge success, we try to do everything that everyone is throwing at us, and it just doesn't work.
And that ends up being the problem, right? Because we see this other person has achieved their success. We start thinking, oh, if they did this and it worked for them, then it should work for me and let me do this. But then we start to see things actually reverse and be worse for us than get any better. And so you have to, I love what you said about a vision board. I love a good vision board. I do a vision board every year. And so I love to have this visual where I see visual goals of things that I want, that I'm trying to get to. And it keeps me focused on getting there. And so, really, what I heard you say in terms of your time and doing the things that you need to do to get to the next level is basically finding your own alignment, because what someone else does isn't necessarily going to be the best thing for you to get you there. And that makes so much sense, because there's always someone out here selling a blueprint to whatever it is, right? And sometimes it works. And then in other cases, it's like, that's not for me. And especially it really, for me, irritates my spirit to the core when, first of all, we have these guys who are, and not that I have anything against guys, but what works for a guy isn't necessarily going to work for a woman, because that's two different roles, right? And so, we have these guys who are saying, oh, I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I go and I lift weights and I run a mile and I do this and I do that. I have my smoothie. And then by 8 o'clock, I'm starting my day. And so I'll try to replicate this. I'll try to get up. For me, I would have to get up at 4. And so if I get up at 4, I'm tiptoeing because I don't want to wake somebody up. Well, if I woke somebody up, that's it. My day's gone. I can't do anything else. So now I feel like a failure because I haven't replicated his routine. And then it just, for the day, my head is in the clouds because I'm like, oh, I didn't do what I wanted to do this morning. And now I just can't get anything accomplished for the rest of the day. So I really love that you point your clients in the direction of what is going to make you feel good about achieving this goal. How is it that you will be in alignment so that you can get there? Because really and truly, that's what it's all about. And I love that you have really, really made this your mission to help others succeed, because again, you saw how hard these celebrities worked and what worked for them. And so I love that you've taken bits and pieces here and there and put it all together and made like your own little gumbo and are just feeding it to your clients. Like I'm loving this. So I guess for me, the next thing is, how does this, what you do in terms of helping others succeed, how does this help you fulfill your purpose? And what does this look like in your day to day, actually?
So you said so many cool things there. I will answer your question, but I kind of want to backtrack. I keep backtracking every time you throw it to me, but on a couple of things you said. So one is you said the word focus, which I am a huge believer in. It's one thing that I have noticed working, again, being surrounded and working with all of these celebrities and really successful people. It's the one and only, well, besides goals, is really staying focused on their goal. And it's something that I truly believe sets successful people apart from people who aren't a success. And it's the people who aren't a success lose focus on their end goal. So, a lot of times we try to, again, like copy someone's routine or set our own routine, which again, we shouldn't copy anyone's routine. We should set our own routines and build our own habits for our own successes. But we set them, and then one thing throws us off in the day, or for a day, and we think, okay, we're not a success. That didn't work. But building success, maintaining focus, building, the life that you want to live, it will have hard moments. And the successful people are the ones who can focus on that end goal and push through those hard moments. So I always see and think of like athletes, they will run a bad race, or maybe some of them won't win the gold at the Olympics, or, they won't win the Super Bowl, but they always are focused on that end goal of wanting to be the best. And they'll come back the next year, they'll train even harder, and they'll give it a go again. And that's what we have to do. We have to be able to really push past those really, really hard times, because it is going to be hard. I always like to say that the productivity industry right now is worth, I think, $8.5 billion. So that's a lot of like apps and people like me and books, telling you to be productive and I guess helping you be productive. But nothing is out there, not yet anyway, with the creation of robots that is actually going to do the task for you. And you are the only one who is going to be able to, force yourself to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and do the 3 tasks that you really want to get off of your plate before anyone wakes up and continuously do that, or stay up late, or try to do it during nap time, or whatever it is, whatever again works for you. But you're the only one. I always like to say that my goal every year, one of my small goals, is to drink more water. And I'm really, really bad at it, and there's apps out there and there's programs and reminders that can help me, but nothing is going to come and pour that water down my throat. I am the only one who can do it. So successful people are the ones who can stay focused on their end goal and to really, really push past those hard times. It's going to be hard. I don't want to sit here and say that everything's going to be easy on your path and journey to success. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. And then to get back to your question about kind of what's driving me to really help others become a success, is it all comes back to when I first started my very first business. So I came off of the road in 2007, and I started my first business with zero business background at all. I was what I like to say, a dirty roadie. I had no idea I could get like coffee and make travel arrangements. But I had no idea what I was doing. And, I just thought, oh, this would be fun. Let's build a business where I can help, more than one crazy rock star at a time. And so I craved a community that, would help me. And back in 2007, there wasn't really podcasts. There wasn't, co-working spaces. There wasn't entrepreneurial like groups that you could join. And when the very first, so I kind of stumbled through and made so many mistakes along the way. And that's a whole other podcast of all the mistakes I made to kind of figure out what I was doing. But along the way, the very first in my city, co-working space opened up. And I was like the second person to join. And I always, volunteered at the front desk. I immersed myself in the community because I was so excited that there was other people like me out there. I didn't think that anyone else existed. And I started realizing, because of my executive and personal assistant background, I started seeing that people, especially these like new entrepreneurs, could only get to a certain amount of success or a certain level of a success, and they couldn't get over that hump. And I started realizing it was because they didn't have the strategic support that they needed. They didn't have, the skills and somebody actually helping them push forward, push through those hard times. And so I actually opened up my second business then, so I could really help these founders and just anyone striving for that dream get over that little hump of success that's so hard to kind of, get over. And really, again, prove all of these lessons that I learned back in the day when I was, running around with rock stars of, what can help keep people focused and maintained on their own dreams. And I've always held that as my big goal. So that's what gets me up in the morning. I'm a huge believer that I have been put on this planet to help others succeed. Nothing makes me happier when I see someone has achieved their goal because of one little thing I've said. So I always get really, really excited, and that's what drives me every day. And that's what I hold on to.
That is awesome, Tara. Like, that really touched me when you were talking just now, like about just seeing how people needed support, and that's what was holding them back. And to really be able to recognize that is really something profound, because a lot of people don't see it that way. They just see it as, you need to work harder, you need to do more, and everything falls on you. But at a certain point, you need help. You can't do all the things. You shouldn't be doing all the things. And at the end of the day, if you want to be successful businesses have teams of people doing things. And so that's what you really have to Yeah, that's what you really have to do. So I love that. If there were three things that you could, three strategies maybe that you could give people to growing a successful business, what would they be?
Yeah, so we've kind of touched on most of them, I think, but I'm obviously really passionate about setting a goal and maintaining focus on that goal. So one of the rock stars that I get to help is Drake. And Drake, I always kind of make fun of him and wonder, like, why is Drake actually so famous? Like, I don't know. I'm not really that big of a fan of his music. I'm probably going to get fired. But anyway, so, but I always think like, why him and why not somebody else who's probably more talented than him? And I've noticed over the years as I've been working with him that it is that focus. He is probably the most determined and focused individual I have ever met in my entire life. And it's actually interesting because he'll set his intention on something. And if you, as part of his team, aren't actually driving in that same direction to that intention, you're out. You're not part of his team. You're not part of his network. You're not part of his entourage. You are gone. He only wants to surround himself with people who are driving towards the same goals. So focus on your goals, focus on whatever you are doing, and pushing past those hard times is definitely number one. Number two is being able to surround yourself with a really powerful network. I used to like Google when I started my first business, like how to become successful, as do when you don't have any business background or schooling. And I would always see two things. One, the word hustle, which I absolutely can't stand right now. As you said, like people say work harder. It's not about working harder. It's definitely about working smarter. And hustle wasn't like tangible enough for me. I didn't understand. Like, tell me what to do and I will go do it. So I'm not a fan of hustling. I'm definitely a fan of working hard, but not the word hustle or hustle culture. But the other thing that would always come up when I was Googling was network, build your network. And that was something that I could understand from, again, being in like the celebrity space, is that celebrities always surround themselves with really successful people. And you're only as big and you can only go as far as your network. And it's something that I actually struggled with at the beginning because I didn't understand how to actually go out and build your network. Like, sure, I want to be around successful people, but like, do I just, go like roll up to the Four Seasons and be like, hi, I'm here. I want to talk to people. And again, that can be a whole other podcast too, of kind of tips and strategies of how to build your network and make it something that is really worth your while. But yeah, to be a success in any way, we're talking a lot about building businesses, but you could want your big goal in life could be to be the best mother in the world, or to be the best volunteer, at your church group, or whatever it is. But you can only go so far as the people that you surround yourself with. And the other one, as we touched on at the very beginning, is ending multitasking. So it is something, again, that I am extremely passionate about. And in Hollywood, there is an equation that gets thrown around a lot, mostly with athletes, but a lot of times, in the music and like Hollywood scene as well. But it is 20% plus 20% plus 20% plus 80% doesn't equal 100%. And you're like, okay, yeah, sure. What does that mean? But it means if you focus, 20% of your time here and 20% of your time here and 80% of your time over here and then 20% of your time here, what are you actually getting done? And it comes back to, again, like focusing on that one task that's actually going to move your goals forward. Sure, you have a lot of noise in the background that has to continue as well, but making sure that you focus 100% of your energy on your goal is really, really powerful, instead of being like pulled in a lot of different directions. And there actually is no such thing as multitasking. The human brain can't concentrate or think about more than one thing at a time. So what we may think is multitasking, we're actually context switching. and we're making ourselves exhausted. As a, society these days, we are really, really tired. And it's because we're trying to do a million things at once. Even if it's like eating dinner and scrolling on social media, or something that I do find myself doing is I'll watch like Netflix and I'll also scroll on social media. And then I'm asleep. I usually fall asleep in the middle of it because I'm just tired. My brain's tired from going back and forth all the time. So it's just something to think about, like remaining focused. What is your goal? What is your vision board telling you that you want to achieve? What are you doing on a day-to-day basis? One thing, that's all you have to pick. And really, really remaining focused and driven and being able to push past those hard times.
That makes so much sense. And a lot of people who are like business coaches will tell you that. They will say, pick one thing. And yes, it may sound like doing less might mean less money, but doing less actually equals more. And it is nuts the way that I kind of organically stumbled on how that works. But it's so true in terms of focusing your energy, like you said. 20% here, 20% here, 20% here, and then 80% over there. Like you're a jack of all trades, but a master of none. And so it just gets to be wild and crazy. So I appreciate that insight, and I'm really excited that you shared all of this with us. The last thing before you go, Tarra, because I know everybody wants to know, what is it like supporting these celebrities, especially since you said like one of your people right now is Drake? Like, that's awesome. Talk to us about it. Tell us some things without giving all the tea.
Well, they definitely have their moments of, yes, being like, you just asked for what? But again, I love it because it gives me this little insider world into success and into really being able to help other people. Like the rock stars are kind of on the side for me. And then like the true entrepreneurs are the ones that drive me the most every single day. I can tell you a little fun story about my my kind of like biggest aha moment to close this out. And it happened. I can't say the name of the rock star, but one of his crazy requests was that every time he traveled to a new hotel, so on tour, we did that almost daily, that every time his toothbrush came out of the suitcase, he wanted it to be sanitized in a hotel dishwasher. And I know, crazy. And people always ask me, why did you do it and not just run it under hot water? And I say, well, I guess that's my integrity. I did it every single time. And the other question I always get asked is why he didn't just buy a new toothbrush every time. And I say, like, I don't know. I learned to not ask why to celebrities a long time ago. They do crazy stuff. You just don't want to be a part of it. So there I was. And a lot of hotels would know we were coming because we'd been there before. It was a request that like happened for years and years. So they would be like, oh, here comes this crazy lady with this toothbrush again. And like, it would be no big deal. But this one time we were in Shanghai, actually, at a brand new hotel. We had never stayed there before. And so there I was in like the back of the kitchen trying to convince these hotel kitchen workers that I had to put this toothbrush in their dishwasher. And they didn't speak English. I didn't speak their language. And it was probably one of the most awkward moments of my entire life. And I remember standing there with this toothbrush in hand thinking, there's got to be more to life than this. And that's when I kind of had my big aha moment that I love helping people. I always want to help people. I always want to be like the back end master of someone's success. But maybe I can help more than one crazy rock star at a time. So that's how I kind of came off the road and started to build my own businesses.
Oh, that's awesome. And it really does speak to your integrity that you did exactly what they asked you to do. And the other part of that, though, too, is like you said with Drake, he will dismiss anyone who is not a part of his vision. And so had you not done what he asked, he may have dismissed you and been like, well, this is what I'm asking you to do. I'm paying you to do what I ask you to do. So do it. And if you refused, which why, I don't know. It's simple, but not simple, like with the last story you just told. But to me it makes sense, because having to go try to buy a new toothbrush every single time, that seems like even more trouble trying to find a store that has a toothbrush. So just run it under some hot water or put it through the dishwasher, whatever the request is, get it done, get it over with. Here's your toothbrush. Have a great day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, no, Drake is definitely a fascinating person. He what I love about him is that he is very much into like mind over body, mind over matter, and he really believes that anybody can create success with just like setting your right intentions. And it's really cool to witness and kind of be there. Like I've always heard of like Jim Carrey, who wrote himself a $10 million check before he was even an actor. And like now he got to cash it. And, of all like setting these intentions and these visions. And it's really cool to be part of and be able to like see it actually working and being like, it can work for anybody.
It definitely can. And especially because I remember Drake when he was Jimmy on
Yes.
Degrassi. That was my favorite teen soap opera. And so when I realized that was him, I had to do a double take, and I was like, Jimmy? Oh my goodness. It's Drake. And then I'm thinking like, but Jimmy was like, so I don't know, like his character, I would not see Jimmy as a rapper. And so it's just really interesting. And like you said, if you set your mind to do something, it can be done. He did it, right? So I'm so thankful that you were able to share some of your experiences with us, to share your story with us. If people want to learn more, or if they want to connect with you, to work with you, how do they do that?
Yeah, so my website is takeiteasygroup.com. You can also find me on socials, Tarra's Time, and Tarra is spelled with 2 R's. And I'm all over socials trying to give and share as many tips as I possibly can too. Again, I'm really, really passionate about helping others fulfill their dreams. And I always think, I know that anyone can do it. Anyone can set their intention and really, really do it. I did with zero business background. Drake did. No other Degrassi star did. So we all can do it too.
We all can do it. And trust me, if I can sit here with a 9-month-old and do these podcast interviews, which happen quite often, where I have my little co-host Winter with me, you can do anything you put your mind to. So set it in your mind that you're going to do it, get focused, and get to work. Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Yes.
Thanks. I had a great time.
I did too. Guys, I hope you took a lot away. Little Miss Winter, she was about as good as it's gonna get, but we love her. How can we be angry at this little face, right? So thanks for tuning in, guys. And until next time on the Spring Forward podcast.